All right, the day is finally here. We are finally going to be reviewing Godzilla versus the Fantastic Four. But Multi, I hear you say, you usually wait for crossovers to end in trade. Why suddenly you get all the issues? That's right, I'm getting all the issues. Why? Because I kind of figured this is going to be big. Like this blew up on the internet, and this is probably going to be very big going forward with all the stuff in the comic. So yeah, I have no doubt in my mind my good friend Chris, aka the Mount Vernon Kid, is going to be sending me the full collected trade in September when that comes out. I have no doubt in my mind he's going to do that. But yeah, I'm going to be I thought about it long and hard. And I was like, no, I have to talk about this comic. Like, I have to do reviews on this book no matter what. So here we are now, Godzilla vs. the Fantastic Four, the first of the Godzilla vs. Marvel event. Holy shit. Can you ever imagine that we got this? So yeah, this comic is written by Ryan North, who Ryan North is currently doing the One Nation Under Doom event right now, but he's also been doing the Fantastic Four run, the current Fantastic Four run, which has been pretty solid. I've read the first 3 volumes. Chris sent me volume 4, which I need to get on. But yeah, I've been really liking Ryan North's take on the Fantastic Four. It's very clear the dude has a lot of love for the characters. So, and we have artwork by John Romita Jr. You see, Romita Jr., there's no doubt that, like, much like his father, Romita Jr. has some great artwork, obviously, with Spider-Man, Daredevil, things like that. But lately, Romita Jr. in his later years has been kind of falling off the mark. Like, it's really like, are you going to get good Romita or bad Romita? Like, it's very much a toss-up. And this artwork is a toss-up in this book. But we'll get to that in a minute. So the comic is set in the 60s, and I gotta give credit to Ryan North. Dude writes like Stan Lee. Like, dude writes like Stan Lee and Jack Kirby would. Like, this feels like something out of the comic. In fact, it's actually set shortly after the Galactus trilogy. And basically, Godzilla did attack Tokyo, and, well, let me talk about more. Is like, yeah, Ryan North understood the assignment that, yeah, we're setting it in different eras. This is set in the 1960s, so these characters talk like from the Fantastic Four comic you would read in the 60s. So I wonder if that's going to be the case with the other Marvel books. Like when we get to the one that's set in the 70s with the Hulk book, I wonder if it's going to follow. If that comic is going to follow, like kind of like the phonetics of the 70s, and then with Spider-Man in the 80s, we'll see how it all goes. Anyway, so yeah, so the comic. Let's get into the story. So the comic is that after the events of Gojira in '54, Godzilla has now returned and is now in New York. And I actually like that they name drop Sarazawa and the Oxygen Destroyer. Also, even though Romita Jr.'s artwork, which I'm going to harp on a little more, I'm sorry, it's very clear that I think the Godzilla he's trying to go for in the 1960s is, at least facially in some places, it looks like he's trying to do not so much Gojira from Raids Again. I think he's trying to do Godzilla versus the Godzilla versus King Kong design, where it's like the long snout and whatnot. So I think that's what he's trying to go for. It's just not working. And I think he's also trying to do like a mixture of that with the Marvel Godzilla, because he's like a very skinny Godzilla. But yeah, the initial fight between Godzilla and the FF is pretty fun, because we see them act like a team and fight Godzilla. And they actually bring up Godzilla's radiation, because they're like, Reed is like, man, it took everything we had to fight Godzilla. Let's break and get rid of this radiation all over us, because it might kill us. I'm like, oh yeah, people forget that Godzilla is just a walking nuclear fallout, so I appreciate that. But the story takes a wild turn when Ghidorah shows up as the Herald of Galactus, and here is what I was talking about with like Romita Jr. I think he does really solid on the human characters and the human-shaped characters, like the FF. Like, sometimes it's a mixed bag when Romita Jr. does these kind of characters, I'm not gonna lie. But here it looked really solid for the FF. But the monsters, yeah. That's not looking great. And also, if you want to see what Godzilla looks like, you see here, it gave me a little hope. Like this two-page splash gave me a little hope. But then we come to like some other images real fast, like this. Yeah. It's just really inconsistent with Ghidorah and Godzilla. And also, I know, like, the story is that Galactus took control of Ghidorah and made him the herald of, his new herald. But do you see anything other than he looks a little silvery that indicates that he now has the power cosmic? Same with Godzilla. Like, the Silver Surfer gives Godzilla the power cosmic, and he doesn't look any different. He just looks He just looks like a shiny version of him. Like one of those figures, like a shiny rare toy from the Jurassic Park eggs. You guys ever have those? Anyway, I'm getting off topic. So yeah. So that was I was like, of all the designs you could have done, you do jack all with a cosmic-powered Godzilla and Ghidorah, and you don't even make the effort to make it look different. Cool, thanks. But I will say the fight is pretty solid, and I do like, again, Ryan North clearly has the best voice right now for the Fantastic Four. And Ghidorah, they actually talk about, like, Ghidorah's origin in here. Like, he kind of pulls a Lobo and said, like, in here, they say, like, Ghidorah destroyed his own world, is now the last of his kind, and that's what drew Galactus to him. And Galactus is massive. They make Galactus massive in here. Like, how big? He's literally holding Ghidorah on his shoulder, on his arm, like a fucking parrot. Yeah. And the comic does mention that, and while we do know that this is going to be like a consistent, like a bunch of one-shots, they leave off with something that made me go, is that what we're going to build towards? Is basically, Reed brings up this talk of, like, there's going to be an inevitable clash between Godzilla and Galactus. So I wonder if that's the through line for all these one-shots, but I thought it was like a bunch of one-and-done stories, but maybe they're just saving the Godzilla versus Galactus fight for later. All in all, the artwork is a little jarring. Romita Jr., I think it's time to hang up. I've said this before. He's done enough. He's done more than enough, but he is not, it's just getting progressively worse. And it's on a good day that you get good Romita Jr. The fact that this feels like a Jack Kirby, Stan Lee book is really fun, and the fight between Godzilla and Fantastic Four is pretty solid. But, between Ghidorah looking like just silver Ghidorah and a few other things. Also, the ending just comes out of nowhere. It's like, oh, Godzilla gave back the power cosmic to Silver Surfer. I'm like, wow, that was a quick wrap-up. It is kind of a little wonky, but it's still enjoyable. I had fun reading this. The fight was pretty solid. They gave a lot of reference to, like, Ryan North clearly knows his Godzilla, and, like I said, he knows more than enough about the FF. So, yeah, this has been pretty solid. This is a pretty solid start, and I'm very excited for Hulk versus Godzilla. I don't know who's writing that. I know Giuseppe Camuncoli is doing the artwork, but I don't know who's going to be the writer. I think it's Philip Kennedy Johnson, but I'm not 100% sure. But, yeah. So yeah, solid start, pretty good start. Let me rephrase that. Pretty good start. So yeah, there you go. There's my review of Godzilla versus the FF. I would say check it out regardless. Yeah, it's just the fact that we're getting this, and again, I will be I know Chris is probably sending me the trade when it comes out, but I'm going to be doing separate issue reviews and probably do like a big overview review at some when it's all said and done and when it's out in trade, and maybe do that with Matt, or maybe collab with Matt on each review. I don't know yet. But anyway, so if you've read Godzilla vs. Fantastic Four, let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of it. Comment below, let me know. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.